Mr. Craig.
I move to amend the proposed resolution by deleting the whereas paragraphs and in the first resolved paragraph, striking that diverse reviewers have repeatedly documented gross pro-Islamic, anti-Christian distortions in social studies text. That's the only phrase being deleted in the first resolved. In the second resolved, it would read that the SBOE will look to reject future prejudicial social studies submissions that, and I would strike the words, continue to offend Texas law and insert, fail to be balanced, accurate, and fair. So the last resolved paragraph would read, resolved that the SBOE will look to reject future prejudicial social studies submissions that fail to be balanced, accurate, and fair with respect to treatment of the world's major religious groups by significant inequalities of coverage space-wise and or by demonizing or lionizing one or more of them over others, as in the above-cited instances.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Bradley.
We had a main motion on the floor, and I do remember a call for the question. Is a motion to amend or a substitute motion in order, or do we need to dispose of the original question?
The call for the question is not a motion, so that was not a motion to have been considered at that point. Therefore, a substitute motion would be in order.
Thank you.
Would you like to speak further to your substitute or your amended?
Yes.
It's the substitute. Thank you.
I think we can all agree that we want fair, balanced, and accurate, whatever religious context we're talking about, without attacking one religion over another. I think it's very clear to the publishers where we're headed and what we want. And I think this tells them without isolating or attacking one religious group over another.
Ms. Hardy.
I think what Mr. Craig has said addresses my concern about the specifics that were in the other resolution. The essence of the resolution is there, that there is a fair and balanced and equitable approach to the coverage of religions if and when we ever get to do textbooks again. So I think that I could support that because that doesn't need to be reviewed by outside sources and a lot of study, because it's clear and just basic that we need to have but I think it also puts publishers on notice that we will be looking for that sort of bias and whether or not it wouldn't reflect the TEKS if there were that kind of bias, if there were a failure to cover those things and back in reference to the TEKS. So I could support what Mr. Craig has to say.
Point of parliamentary inquiry, Madam Chairman.
Knight?
And it's on the, what, is this a substitute?
Substitute.
We have, as I understand it, we would be deleting, striking all of the whereases. If that is the case, aren't the whereases the above cited instances, and do we need to delete the above cited instances since there are no above cited instances?
Yes.
And in the last line of that second resolve, it says, as in the above cited instances. Now, I thought the above cited instances are the whereases which we are proposing to delete.
Is there any objection to amending the substitute as proposed by Mrs. Knight?
No.
If there's no objection, then we will add to the substitute motion the striking of the last words of the second resolved as in the above cited instances. The substitute before us will strike all the whereas statements. It would begin with the first resolved. It would strike that diverse reviewers have repeatedly documented gross pro-Islamic, anti-Christian distortions in social studies texts. It would strike from the second resolve that continue to offend Texas law. It would insert there that fail to be balanced, accurate, and fair. And then it would strike the last phrase, as in the above cited instances. Does call for a record vote has been made. Does everyone understand the substitute before us?
Madam Chairman, this is a vote on the substitute.
On the substitute as offered by Mr. Craig and as amended by Mrs. Knight. Okay, the board is open. Sub 6 to 7.